Welcome to Toastmasters Television. My name is Michael McCarthy, and I'm the president of the Boston Copley Toastmasters Group located in the heart of Boston, Massachusetts. This is our 5th television show. Toastmasters TV was an idea that I developed about a year ago to help our members become better public speakers and especially get experience with speaking on television. One of the things that we do in Toastmasters, which is a nonprofit group which is nearly a century old, is in over 150 countries and has been in existence this long because of people like you, our members, wanting to simply learn how to give better public presentations. Whether you want to give better public presentations at your company, whether you want to become a movie star, whether you want to become a rock star or a corporate trainer, for whatever reason, Toastmasters is the place where you can safely learn, experiment, and become better. One of the favorite aspects of Toastmasters that I personally enjoy is learning how to speak in an impromptu fashion. We have a section in Toastmasters, and this is what this television show is all about. It's called Table Topics. We give all of our speakers a question. They don't know what the question is going to be. Between the time they hear the question and the time they come up to this podium, which is about 30 seconds, they have to develop a cohesive speech that lasts 1 to 2 minutes. And you in the audience are invited to be a part of our Toastmasters television show, and we invite you to be a free guest at our live meetings, which are Tuesdays from 12 to 1 o'clock at Trinity Church in Boston Copley. To start this off, I want you to meet all of our members who are in our audience today. I'm going to ask everyone to come up. Please introduce yourself and tell us, why did you join Toastmasters? What brings you here? Josh?
Thanks, Mike. Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua Ogden, and the reason I joined Toastmasters starts back when I was in college. One of my professors had told us about this club where you could work on your communication and leadership skills and speaking in public. So that planted the seed in my head that maybe this is something that I would like to do. After I graduated and I got a job, the place that I started to work had a Toastmasters group. And I didn't go out and reach out to them, but they came to me and said, "Josh, come join us. You'll have a lot of fun. You can work on your leadership skills and your communication skills." And I said, no, I'm not ready yet. Maybe another time. And time passed, and they came back to me and they said, "Josh, come join us. It'll be a lot of fun. We hang out at lunchtime and we just tell stories and we tell jokes." And I said, all right, I will come and I will be a guest at one of your meetings, but no promises. I can't commit. So I went and I sat through the meeting, and what really won me over was the joke master. The joke master told this raunchy joke that covered sex, drugs, everything, and it crossed all lines, and that was what won me over. I was like, if this is what they can talk about, then we can talk about anything, and we can grow and be professionals and still have a good time. So that is why I joined Toastmasters. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Josh. Mary, would you like to come up and introduce yourself to TV Land?
My name is Mary Shavs, and I joined Toastmasters because I love a good story. I love to hear good stories, and in my family we all love to tell good stories. My father was the consummate storyteller, probably because he's Irish and it runs in the genes. My brother was an actor, a comic actor. And I was much younger than my brother, and I wanted to kind of get some attention myself, so the idea of telling a story was very appealing to me. But telling a story isn't just rattling off a bunch of words. You've really got to work on your timing and your delivery and how you emote to the audience and making that connection and bam, coming in with the punchline or the point of the story. I often would listen to the Moth Radio Hour and listen to the storytellers while I'm driving in my car and realize, oh, my exit was about 20 miles ago. I'm so engrossed. And I hope that in my future, my next life, because my next incarnation when I retire from this job, I hope to go into a service industry and actually telling stories to people who may be confined, nursing homes or schools. And at first that may seem to you like, oh, what a wonderful service, but actually I'll have a captive audience, and there's quite a bit to be said for that. And that is the true reason that I joined Toastmasters. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. So if something happens to me and I get stuck in a nursing home, I'm going to call you to get the good stories. Laura, care to come up?
Thank you, Mike. Hi, fellow Toastmasters. My name's Laura, and the reason why I came to Toastmasters, I began thinking about this a little while ago. When I was in high school, they nominated me to speak at graduation, which was absolutely the worst thing they could have done because it just ruined my graduation. I was so nervous. All I could think about was that silly speech that I wrote, and I'm not sure it was any good anyway. However, I got through it, but it wasn't fun. Fast forward 30 years, I'm at my job. Now I have to speak in front of groups, and I still suffered from that same kind of nervousness, that feeling in your stomach, or you just want to run to the bathroom, let's say. And I realized that if I didn't tackle this, that I would really not be able to grow in my career. So I joined Toastmaster to simply help myself grow in my job and become a more calm and peaceful speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Krista, would you care to come up? Welcome.
Hello, my name is Krista Schindler. I joined Toastmasters because when I graduated from graduate school, I couldn't find a job. I applied for part-time jobs, full-time jobs, fellowships. I even considered doing another internship, but I kept getting overlooked. I'm the stereotypical girl in her 20s. I said a lot of, oh my God, like. It didn't impress the research scientists that were interviewing me. Although I ended up finding a full-time job in my field without Toastmasters, my new job had a Toastmasters club. In order to be proactive, I continued and got involved in the club because I wanted to work on those skills still.
Thank you, Krista. Anne, come say hello.
Thank you. How many people here have been in Toastmasters since they were a small child? Probably not that many. I had the lucky privilege of being introduced to Toastmasters at a very early age. When I was 7 years old, I would go to Christmas parties with my father's Toastmaster group, and I would occasionally even get up and give them my 7-year-old speaking savoir-faire. Savoir-faire, thank you. It was an interesting time to see that at an early age. However, it wasn't until I was after college that I got up and decided to be an active member at Toastmasters. Toastmasters has been part of a personal development journey that I have had. Toastmasters, as well as karaoke and various other things that make our hearts and our stomachs quiver, has been a part of me growing into becoming a more confident and more communicative person. And it is with great pride and appreciation that I continue to use Toastmasters to grow personally and hopefully to help others grow as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Deb, come say hello.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Deb. I joined Toastmasters for both personal and professional reasons. Professionally, I'm a life and career coach. I work with people who are in career transition. As part of that, I teach classes and I give workshops. And I really wanted to be at my best in presenting these workshops. Personally, I joined Toastmasters because I've always been really shy. The thought of standing and speaking in front of a group or speaking to an audience has always filled me with dread. And I realized that at this time in my life, it was enough. I was ready to be brave and to tackle this fear. And I went to a Toastmasters meeting, and I was so impressed. Everyone was so kind and supportive. And I knew that it was where I needed to go to grow my skills. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Jojo, come say hello to the group.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jojo Laricia, and I was invited here tonight from your president, Michael McCarthy. And here I am. So I have to tell you that when I first started speaking in front of people at the Dale Carnegie course that I took years ago in New York City, I had knots in my stomach. I couldn't handle being in front of people. Singing is quite easy, but speaking's another whole arena. Anyway, I have a children's TV show called JoJo's Dream Cart, and I remember the first episode that I did, I was so nervous about memorizing lines that the producer told me, if you make a mistake, we're all going to walk off the set. That's how nervous I was. They all knew I was nervous, and it was a big deal. But being in front of the camera has become so easy now, and I host and produce a lot of shows, and I love to talk, and being on camera is so easy. And I'm going to tell you that if you do want to join Toastmasters, I encourage people to join because speaking in front of the camera really loosens you up. Thank you.
Thank you, Jojo. I invited Jojo on the show because she taught me how to do television shows. When I first came as a guest, they thought I was a crew member, I was changing light bulbs, and they gave me a credit for lighting. And I thought, this is sort of funny. And that is how I joined the Somerville Producers Group, because they thought I was already a member. And a very welcoming crowd. Adam, would you care to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Adam Trena, and this is my first experience with Toastmasters. And I'm here for multiple reasons. I think the first time it became apparent to me that I needed to practice some public speaking skills was when I was at my sister's wedding. And I knew I wanted to say something to help set the mood and to celebrate her special day, but I didn't know quite what the words were and how to put them together in front of all my friends, all her friends, and our new family. The second time I knew or decided that it was important to practice public speaking skills was when I had my first job after graduate school, and I was working with young people. And I was telling the same story and using the same words, but getting remarkably different reactions. And while I was doing this sort of self-introspective experiment, telling the same story the same way and seeing that I was getting these multiple perceptions, I started to think that maybe I'm responsible for more than just the words that I'm saying, but for the way in which they're being perceived. And if I can influence the way that I'm being perceived and control the communication of intent as well as words, then I think I can really express myself and persuade people to think like I do.
Thank you, Adam. That was really deep. I love that. That was great. Rohit, come say hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rohit. And just in case you haven't heard that name before, it's like row the boat and hit the ball. It's a good way to remember it. Well, I actually met Michael and got connected to Toastmasters through, I'm actually taking a class that Michael teaches on public speaking at the Adult Education Center. And so we are in the 4th week of our class and have given, I guess, a couple of speeches. And so learning what all you folks at Toastmasters do and practicing that art of getting up and giving a speech and talking about something. And I actually was very interesting. I didn't realize that Michael and the class was connected with Toastmasters until I first came. And my father is actually, and it was interesting when I heard that, I was like, oh, wow. My father actually has been going to Toastmasters for about 20 years. And absolutely, it's been a big part of his retired life. And one of the things that he always comes back and says, and there are a couple of things that he always talks about. One is that he said that he says that it always brings out in him. He talks about things that he didn't even know that he cared about. That somehow those topics bring out things, and he's like, "Wow, I found out I was passionate about something I didn't even realize." And the other thing that he says that he absolutely loves about it is that other people talk about things that they really care about, so you really get to know people. So it was very interesting to hear that Michael was connected to Toastmasters, and I'm excited to learn more about what Toastmasters is. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohit. So that is all of our members, and what brings me here? Why am I doing this? 2 years ago, I was flying to Florida to visit my parents for New Year's. And I was reading one of the many self-help books that I'm always reading, and this one asked me a question. If you had a blank chalkboard, no career, you had a blank chalkboard, what would you do for a living? I thought I would teach people how to be better versions of their current selves. That's what I would do. And then I said, oh my God, I'm a baker. I am so far off what my passion is and what I feel like I was put on this earth to do, that by the time the plane landed in Fort Myers, Florida, I said, I am going to make a shift. If you make a 1-degree change in your life, within 6 months, you've completely turned yourself around. That's 180 degrees. I said, the first thing I'm going to do when I get back to Boston, I'm going to join Toastmasters. That will be my first active step into doing something. And a year later, I've contributed a book to a chapter from a well-known self-help guru named Jack Canfield. I was a guest at his house for a week. He asked me to be an author on one of his chapters. Now I'm doing the TV show. I got elected president of my club. And in January, I will be full-time in a partnership with an affiliate of Jack Canfield's teaching people how to do business startups. So it took me under 2 years to do a complete change, and that is why I'm here. Now we're going to move into the next phase. The next phase that we have in Toastmasters is we have a introductory portion, and it is someone who's going to either be the humorist or inspirationalist, where for a few minutes to open up the meeting, they will either give you a few words of humor or a few words of inspiration. And Krista has been generous enough to share with us some humor, a little bit of inspiration as well. Krista, come on up.
Toastmasters, I have a confession. I went to a psychic. Twice. The first time I went was in March of 2013. In my defense, I was only 24 years old at the time. Can anyone in the audience guess why a 24-year-old girl would go to see a psychic? Anyone?
Love.
Yeah! I had this boyfriend who was actually my ex-boyfriend who had a new girlfriend. I was going to a psychic because I wanted confirmation that the universe was going to break them up. I had written this very compelling letter with themes like, I'm sorry, I love you, please take me back. So to the psychic, I went. The setup of a psychic session is very simple. You make your appointment, you show up, you have your reading. When I got there, Tracy, the psychic, she first talked about the type of energy that I give off. She also confirmed that since I was born in February, I was in fact an Aquarius. Then she asked for a picture of the person that I wanted to know about. So I reached in my back pocket, I handed over my phone. There was a picture of my ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend that I had gotten from Facebook. Not creepy at all. She looks at it, she's thinking. She looks at me and she says, she's not going anywhere. Then she quickly moves on to talk about my professional life, perhaps what area of the country that I'll be living in. I was sitting there thinking, she's not going anywhere. She's not going anywhere. Wait, what do you mean she's not going anywhere? Tracy, the psychic, looked at me with a little bit of pity, she said, and repeated, she's not going anywhere. Listen, I'm not your best friend. I'm not your mother. I'm not your counselor. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. He will marry her. You can write that letter, but I'm telling you right now, it will have no impact on your future. Did I listen? No! I sent that letter first class, I got a tracking label on it, and I waited to make sure that my ex-boyfriend got it. A week went by. A month went by. The whole summer went by, and he never responded. Later that year, in November, him and his girlfriend, they got married, just like Tracy said. Is the message here to go out and rush and see a psychic? No. It's what Tracy said. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. As Toastmasters, we're pretty open to this idea of constructive criticism. We actually want people to tell us how we need to improve. Keep in mind, though, there are two components to change: the desire to change, and then the actions that follow that allow you to achieve that change. The next time someone gives you advice, whether it's in this meeting, the next month, your entire Toastmasters journey, don't just hear it, heed it. Who knows? The truth might actually set you free.
Thank you, Krista. I actually got a psychic gift when I was around Christmas time. Not as a gift that I learned I was psychic, but someone gave me a coupon to go see a psychic. And I love her. She's great. I just refer to her as my witch in Salem, and she's wonderful. She does get very upset around Halloween, and I always ask her, why are you so upset with Halloween? And she goes, the town is just full of amateurs. And I thought, yeah, I could understand that. Now we're going to move into the next phase, which is our icebreaker. TV Land would like to know a little bit more about you. I'm going to throw out one icebreaker question. Each person in this phase is going to come up and answer it. So if you like this question, raise your hand. I'll pick on you. Here we go. And when you do come up, please announce your name so that we can remember who you are again. Repeat the question, and then you have 1 to 2 minutes to respond. In what way are you like your parents? Deb.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Deb. In what way am I like my parents? Unfortunately, in lots of ways. First of all, some good, some bad. Let's start with the maybe negative. First of all, I'm really a neat freak. My parents like to have everything in their place, and I find that as I grow older, I hear myself saying to my kids, put that away, don't leave that out. So I'm the same way. I think in a really positive way, I'm like my parents because I love my family. My parents will do anything for their kids. Family takes precedence over everything. And I'm the same way. I have 3 children, ages 9 to 18. I have a wonderful husband. And what I love to do is spend time with them. In fact, for my husband and my anniversary, which is coming up, we're all going out to dinner. So those are 2 ways I'm like my parents. I'll think about it and share the rest with you another time. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Our next icebreaker question, unfortunately, someone pre-selected themselves to answer because it's pretty random, so I'm glad someone already pre-volunteered. Describe a world in which hot dogs are the only accepted form of currency. Here comes Ann Shadell. Welcome, Ann.
Thank you, Michael. I am Ian Shadell. The question is, describe a world where hot dogs are the only currency. Now, I remember being a small child in school, and we had to pretend that our We were going around and trading each other. Currency was a thing of the past. Language was a thing of the past. And we had to create our new civilization. Now, one interesting thing about hot dogs is that they don't last forever. Now, the paper that we have is pretty enduring. I think that if hot dogs were the currency of the world, we would be more likely to eat it. And an interesting thing is that the way that we interact with each other in the world, this money is a concept. It's a thing. Whether it's a piece of paper that says George Washington, or whether it's a hot dog, or whether it's an airplane or fuel. The things that we use to get from others, to give to others, it really is a pretty senseless and almost random thing. So in a world of hot dogs as currency, I think that it would in fact act very much the same in that what we are doing is creating value and exchanging that value. Now, perhaps if our hot dogs were the currency and they all shriveled up and turned into nothing, then we might actually take some steps into creating a world where the currency that we have is our skills, ourselves, and our words. That would be a world that I would be intrigued to see. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. That's kind of like hot dogonomics or something. I like that. It was actually cohesive. What do you enjoy doing when you have a completely free day with no obligations? Jojo?
My name is Jojo. What do I enjoy doing when I have a free day? Well, I have to tell you, I love to work. I love to edit. I love to be behind the camera. And I love making people happy with doing my video work and watching them succeed. And one of the things, and I can talk about Michael McCarthy in particular because he is such a talent. And when I first met him, I remember he had such a gift of gab. And I remember encouraging him to talk and to speak in front of people because he has so much inspiration and wisdom. And I have to tell you, it's an honor to see where he has progressed. Being in the company of Jack Canfield, I mean, that is like mind-blowing that here's a man who started on this journey of speaking, and look at what you could do with words. They're so powerful. And your talk about the psychic, fantastic. And your talk about how you want to follow and be entertaining to the people, it's wonderful. And your talk about hot dogs, I mean, come on. This is a great group. So I'm just going to tell you that free time is to be valued. And if you could do